Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Oliver.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you very much for joining us today. You're in a hot seat again. Last time, not that long ago, it was our Q2 on hands for Ripple meeting in our London office. Well, as you know, we love talking to you. We take every opportunity to do so.
it's always my pleasure to share our experience in using blockchain technology for cross-border payments, particularly for the benefit of migrant workers. A big part of our mission is to help migrant workers as part of our financial inclusion.
Well, thank you. BC Remit has been a customer of Ripple for a few years now. You are one of the first adopters of our on-demand liquidity solution. And it's since 2019, I believe. It's been a few years. Since then, our partnership has grown together, so we do recognize BC Remit as a partner, and as Brad said, partners and customers like BC Remit are very valuable. So very excited to be here today and to talk to you about payments in general, application of blockchain in payments flow, and learn more, of course, about your very inspiring experience. So if we start from the beginning, could you tell us about BC Remit as business and the story behind your decision to found the company?
Sure. So again, my name is Oliver Calma. I'm the founder of BC Remit. So BC Remit, we're a fintech company. We're based here in London. We provide online money transfer, particularly for migrant workers. I started the business back in 2015. We launched in 2016, and currently we've recently expanded into set up a business in Spain because of Brexit. We also this year set up an entity in Canada and the US. Hopefully we'll be able to launch in North America later this year, early next year.
So what industries does your business support?
So we provide, as I mentioned, online money transfer for migrant workers. We're very much focused on the Philippine market. I'm originally from the Philippines. Before starting BC Remit, I worked in the Middle East and then moved here in the UK. And in my job as an expat, we were serving migrant workers, and I saw firsthand, and in a way I also experienced it myself. I saw the pain points in terms of sending money remittance. It was very expensive. It was very slow. So that gave me the idea to start BC Remit.
So this is very personal for you.
Yeah, definitely. It's to us, this business is, I think the way we look at it, we're in a very lucky position because we're in a business that, provides profit, but has at the same time a very good purpose in helping people.
Fantastic. So what was the decision behind naming the company BC Remit?
So interestingly, there are a few reasons, but in the context of this conference, one of the reasons, even back in 2015, I was interested in blockchain technology. So one of the reasons of BC is blockchain. We really wanted to use blockchain technology I saw the promise of blockchain technology, but at that time it was a bit too early, but we still, kept a close eye on it because we really wanted to adopt it because we knew that it would help in terms of making money remittance, faster and cheaper for the benefit of our target customers.
Yeah. So we are in payments space, and we talk a lot and we hear a lot about inefficiencies of the traditional payment methods.
Yep.
SWIFT in particular is being referred to as one of the most archaic and probably outlived payment services. In your experience, what are the challenges that impact in service for your customers?
Yeah, so right now, SWIFT is still the predominant network that is being used by majority, if not all, banks in terms of their cross-border transactions. As you mentioned, SWIFT has been around for the last almost 50 years now, It's very old despite of the advancement. I guess banks have been very slow in improving that technology. So in terms of the pain points of SWIFT, I would say, number one, it's slow. It takes anywhere between one business days to 5 business days or an average of 3 business days for the money to arrive. Secondly, it's not always available. You can only avail of it during banking hours, so that's between 9 to 4:30 p.m. And it's not available on weekends and bank holidays. And thirdly, it's expensive. When someone sends money across the border using SWIFT, they get charged by their bank, and the bank as well usually on the receiving side also takes a cut. So it's it's slow. It's not really available 24/7, and it's expensive.
So putting it into perspective for first-hand experience of your customers, how did it impact them? The payments potentially that they send in to their families being delayed, and
So before the introduction of solutions such as ours, it was really cumbersome and expensive for migrant workers to send money back home to their families back home, because for migrant workers, sending money or remittances is a very vital service. It's a way for them to support their families in their home countries. So it's something that they do on a very regular basis, monthly or sometimes even more than once a month. So for them, before it was, again, very expensive, as much as 15% of their total amount of money that they send is being charged to them. Also, it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's slow. It takes anywhere between, normally it takes about 3 business days.
Yeah.
Now, with the technology that we use, we are able to deliver the remittances literally in minutes at a very cost-effective price.
We would like to learn more about that, of course, today. What was your first experience of engagement with Ripple? How did you come about to engage with us and learn about our services?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, when I started BC Remit, we were very interested in really adopting blockchain technology. So we really kept a close eye on the technology. Obviously, we talked a lot of potential partners, solutions, looking at the technology firsthand ourselves. And then when we got to meet you guys at Ripple, we assessed it, and I think the beauty about Ripple is that they were among the very first blockchain solutions that really focused on the cross-border use case. So we decided to adopt it and really looked at it and work with you guys as early as 2019.
Yeah. So our value proposition resonated a lot with those challenges that you were trying to solve for your customers. That's fantastic to hear. While talking about our on-demand liquidity solution, so just what it is, we use a digital asset, XRP, as a bridge between 2 currencies, which delivers much faster, to your point, service, eliminates need for pre-funding of the destination accounts, reduces the cost. What are the other benefits that you potentially seen from using the solution?
I think you've correctly mentioned some of them. So for us, number one, it's the speed. We are, as I mentioned, because of the use of the technology, we're able to more efficiently be able to, fulfill transactions literally in minutes, sometimes even seconds. So customers of ours, let's say here in London, they do a transaction. The funds will be available back in the Philippines literally in a few minutes. And that is available right now 24/7, that fast delivery, again, because of the technology, because of the liquidity support that Ripple provides. And lastly, it's very cost effective. As I mentioned earlier, the cost of the traditional way of sending money is as high as about 15%. Our effective cost is as low as 1%, sometimes even lower. So those are the real benefits that this solution provides us.
When it comes to a person sending money to their family, I guess that this amount of money actually makes quite a difference.
Yes, so when we provide them good service and they give us good feedback, that really gives us the extra energy to serve them better. So we'd like to always improve. It's already working, but we'd like to continually improve it.
Fantastic. So what's next?
So next is, as I mentioned, is continually improving it. We're also trying to expand our footprint in terms of to other markets. As I mentioned, we're trying to expand to North America, hopefully by end of the year or early next year. And then medium term, right now we're very much focused on the Philippines, which is like the 4th largest remittance market in the world with over 36 billion US dollars in annual remittances. We'd like to expand that potentially to other markets. Maybe we could start with other countries in Southeast Asia in the medium term. So there's a lot of potential in terms of the business, in terms of our use of blockchain technology. So it's definitely exciting times ahead. Yeah.
We would like to be part of that, of course.
Definitely.
So Oliver, let's talk about application of blockchain and digital assets and cross-border overall. What do you think is the pace? How quickly does the industry adapt?
Well, I would say it's a bit or very slow. Right now, we've started using this technology back in 2019, and still we're one, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're still one of the few that use it. I think it's because of lack of understanding of the technology, because I think, are there bankers here? I think generally banks, because they're very, I would say, traditional. They are not very open to change, because I don't blame them, because their model works. So I think it's unfortunately slow. That's why it's still a lot of, particularly in our use case for cross-border payments, it's still a lot of it. It's still expensive for the most part of it.
And what do you think needs to happen for this adoption to potentially pick up the pace?
Well, I think it's starting, but again, a bit slower than I think. Personally, I think it should be. I think they just need to understand it, because from our perspective, using it, we know it works. We've been using it for a few years. It wasn't perfect in the start, but what was good is we worked together to continually improve it. So I think it's hopefully there'll be more understanding on this type of technology, on this type of use case, because if they understand it, I think they would adopt it.
And considering your involvement with the technology so far, I guess you would consider yourself more as a trailblazer or caution follower.
I think definitely anybody who adopts it, even to this day, even next year, still a trailblazer. So.
Well, it's fantastic to see these trends picking up and taking place now. Well, looking more in the future, what difference do you think, what role do you think crypto and digital assets and blockchain overall will play for finance, payments, or any other industries?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. It's like I mentioned, it's very exciting times. Right now, we're using blockchain technology actually in the background. So our customers don't even know that we're using blockchain technology. They just know that they're, enjoying this very low price. It gets delivered in a few minutes. But they don't know that, at the back end, we use blockchain, particularly the ODL solution. But I think as, again, more understanding, adoption, the regulations, are in place, I think blockchain technology will go more and more, in front of the customers as there's more understanding maybe right now, because right now the way it works is for instance, our customers have sterling pounds. The system for split for a few seconds, convert it to XRP, and then XRP to Philippine pesos. So that's happens in the background. I see in the future that we will give the customers the option to maybe park it first in a cryptocurrency or another digital asset before converting it to another fiat. Or maybe in the further future, maybe even use that digital currency for their own spending. So it's very exciting times.
Fantastic. So you have been using the solution for some time. You're enjoying the benefits. What are any other products that you have come across
In
that you
terms
potentially have considered?
There's a lot. There's a lot of things playing in my mind, in our team's mind. It's like I mentioned. Maybe in the future, we'll also, we can not just convert fiat to fiat, but convert the fiat to a digital asset such as XRP to fiat, or just a digital asset itself. There's a host of use case that we see that it's exciting times. Right now, it's like in terms of the use of blockchain technology, I think it's not just for payments, but blockchain technology in general. The way I see it, it's like 1995 all over again. So imagine back then we didn't even imagine like Uber or Facebook, or how Google. We didn't even imagine how much Google changed our lives. So I think it's very much the same way. That's why I always say it's exciting times ahead.
It's part of our evolution,
Yep.
the way we live,
Yeah.
the lifestyle.
So for our part, it's really keeping a close eye on this technology, helping it develop, also understanding the customer, because it's not all about the technology, right? It's really using that technology to solve a pain point, a problem, or improve the lives of our customers. So I think that's for BC Remit to be successful in the future, we have to do that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Oliver. Well, just a final question. If you had a time machine and you could go back to very early years, to your learning years or your student years, knowing everything that you know about blockchain and payments today, what would you do differently? And would you do anything differently? Well, maybe apart from investing in Bitcoin.
Yes, definitely invest in Bitcoin much earlier. But yeah, I think I would just adopt it much earlier, Though I think we're already, as you mentioned, one of the early adopters, but I think just adopt it earlier, understand it, and maybe, implement it, maybe, because I think it's really beneficial for our customers and for our business. Yeah.
So would you give advice to any of the businesses today as a yes, green light for adoption of blockchain?
Well, in terms, I think in terms of using blockchain technology for payments, and as I mentioned, it's like 1995 all over again. It goes beyond payments, right? I think blockchain technology has a lot of promise because it's decentralized, it's more secure, It has a use case. My advice is, look at something that you're interested in. If you're lucky enough, look for something that you're passionate about, and see how blockchain technology can help that business, or it doesn't even have to be a business, right? that activity in order to improve people's lives. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to hear about your experience. Great to get some tips from you as well. And we do have some time left, so we could take a couple of questions now. Alternatively, you could join us upstairs for further conversation. Have some.
Yes. Thank you for the presentation. I'm wondering if you could describe how you deal with KYC, AML. So do you blacklist, censor, stuff like that, given you described blockchain technology?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, yes, as part of, we are a regulated business, very regulated, as a matter of fact. So AML, KYC is a very important of our processes. So we basically use the traditional flow, but improve it using blockchain technology to make it, again, faster and cheaper. But to answer your question directly, yes, we very much use, all of our customers undergo AML and KYC checks. All of their transactions are checked against sanctions list. We even built our own risk analysis and fraud mitigation system. So I think, yeah, it's very important to have that as part of your payments process. I think there's.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm just wondering how the mechanics work on the Philippines end. Because I imagine a lot of the people receiving the remittances are unbanked or underbanked or don't have smartphones.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just curious how they get the ripple to
again,
the XRP.
good question. So you're absolutely right. So the off-ramp is very crucial. Obviously, we listen to our customers, particularly the Philippines. There are a lot of unbanked people there. So one of our delivery options is cash pickup. So we partner with a lot of pawn shops and other outlets in the Philippines. We have actually over, I think right now the count is over 12,000 outlets nationwide. Some of them in major cities are available 24/7. So if someone wants to send money to their relatives back home, they just, the funds are available in minutes. Actually, some of our customers who go on vacation, let's say to the Philippines, they actually send money to themselves and pick it up from our cash pickup partners. So they don't need to send, previous to that, they need to transfer or actually carry cash when they travel.
Hi. I had a question. So you were saying that Swift is basically slow, which, by the way, is funny because it's the opposite of its name, Swift. But I was wondering, why is Swift slow? And I was thinking, like, maybe it's not a technical problem. Maybe Swift could be really fast. And do you think that maybe banks want it to be slow? Do you think that maybe if you speed up that system too much, it becomes too difficult to watch for fraud? If you need more checks in place, obviously they have fees attached to those things, so that's another friction. But for really good customers, they waive all those fees anyway. So I'm just wondering, is the problem really technical, or is there something else going on here?
Yep.
And could Swift be just sped up?
Yep. So that's a very valid question, actually. So I think it's really, and this is my personal opinion, I think it's a mindset thing more than anything. It's not the technology, because the technology is available. It's just a mindset thing wherein a lot of bankers have been, I think, just because for them it works, right? So they maybe haven't really changed it in terms of your question about KYC, AML, with the technologies right now, AML checks, and we do it ourselves, and we've even built it ourselves. AML, KYC checks along, we have velocity checks, limits checks, linked transaction checks, and other checks as part of our, as I mentioned, risk analysis and fraud mitigation system that are done in real time.
So you think the technology can solve it, but you think that banks just don't think that way, and kind of old school or something that they'd like to keep. It's really that momentum that they like to keep. Sorry for this tangent, but let me just introduce it into the conversation. About 20 years ago, people were wondering whether you had, what would happen with the phone system and whether you could make phone calls without the phone company, right? It's kind of like parallel to...
Yes.
to
You're absolutely, that's a very good
right? And
comparison.
Yeah, and what happened was, at first, the local phone charges went down. It's like wire transfers. Like the local calls became free, but the international ones stayed expensive. And then WhatsApp came along, and there's nothing the phone companies could do for a while. And then some phone companies started to figure out which calls were WhatsApp and started to block them. So if you played this out, what could happen is the technology comes along, and for a while, banks can do nothing, and then after a while, they'll actually find new friction to add in that isn't even there now. I just want you to think about this, where this can go.
Yeah. So again, this is just my opinion. I think it's really the issue is more of a mindset. Also, I think for a lot of banks, this cross-border payment is really it's not a big money maker for them. That's why they make it expensive, right? It's as you know, banks make more money from their investment banking business. So maybe it's not a priority of theirs. As opposed to us, we're very focused. We're actually very passionate about this business. So I think that's the main thing. And actually, that's a good analogy between the old ways of calling using landlines and even mobile phones versus your WhatsApp right now, because actually that was one of my inspirations in terms of starting BC Remit, because just to share with you guys, my last role before starting BC Remit I was a managing director of an MVNO. So we provided mobile services to migrant. We were targeting migrant workers, so they can call back home. But I was having a hard time because our customers were using WhatsApp, Viber, Facebook Messenger. So I said when I'm going to start a business, I'm going to use technology.
So I think we have time for one more.
Good thing you mentioned that.
Hello. Thank you for your talk. Yeah. So I was looking at Paxful, which is like a very fascinating use case for cross-border exchange. Paxful P2P, which uses individuals can use it to trade cryptocurrency through other forms of payment. So some research out there says that people in other countries use gift cards because they hold stable value, and what they do is they buy a gift card and then they take a picture of this gift card and then send it to their relatives in a different country, and they on their end use this gift card for remittance. So they typically do this to use this gift card money for remitting in terms of blockchain, in terms of Bitcoin, to basically save up on losing out on remittance fees. So, and extending to that, they also use it to remit in terms of stable coins as well. So I was just saying that, do you as BC Remit look at other stable coins in this P2P exchange as a competitor? And I also looking at P2P, other P2P companies like say Paxful, which use this, I wouldn't say or like totally legal method of doing this because it sometimes can evade taxes. So do you all like look at these other companies as their competitors? And what about stable coins like CBDCs as well?
Yeah, in terms of stable coins, particularly for us as a business, we don't really look at them as competitors. Actually, they're a good evolving alternative, I would say, which we are also closely looking at. I think I've spoken about it during our last talk at your offices in Ripple. But currently the problem with stable coins is the off-ramp. Right now, if you go, particularly in the Philippines or even here, you cannot use stable coins to buy, to order coffee, for instance, to buy groceries, right? So that's, I think, is the challenge. I don't know about when CBDCs will be available. If that will be, I don't think it will be also immediately possible. But yeah, that's why it is very critical to what do you call this? To keep a close eye and be interested in this space because it's really just evolving so fast.
Thank you very much, Oliver. Thank you, everybody, for your question. It's a great conversation. I would like to continue. We're out of time now, so maybe we could carry on.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.